Okay, hi. My name is Katya, and I live in New Orleans. I'm an acupuncturist, and my website is librewellness.com, Libre wellness.com. So, and I decided to do 10 to 15-minute videos every day or so to just put out information about self care tools that people can use in terms of thinking about their health right now at this times. Um, so, and just a disclaimer, if there's any symptoms of the virus that you have, of course, definitely this is not a substitute for going to the hospital. Um, I wanted to start with going over information from a book. The book is a standard manual for acupuncture. It's written by Peter Dadman. This is the, I can't see, but maybe you can. The picture um, right here. Uh, this is the lung system, sort of uh, unclear, I see, but to start, just and also I want to say that I'm going to use a lot of Chinese medicine terminology. So Chinese medicine terminology is really vague to the Western scientific ear, um, and of course there's a lot of explanation I could do to kind of remedy that. But I'm just going to try to do my best and do and use the terminology because it allows me to kind of move through the material quickly. If you have any questions, just find me on Facebook and write to me. I'm Katya Chizhaeva um, on Facebook. Okay, so the lung channel is the first channel out of 12 primary channels that run through the body. The channel is not an organ, so when you hear the word lung channel, it doesn't just connect to the organ system of the actual lungs, but it normally the channels run along the fascial planes of the body. So the fascia is a connective tissue, and it connects the muscles, the ligaments, the bones, all together in these big planes. If you're curious about fascial planes, um, just Google the word fascia, FASCIA, and then go from there. So the lung channel runs along the yin side of the body. So when we say yin, it's the middle side of the body, and let's see, it originates in the belly, in the stomach. So this is where the channel pathway originates. So that connection is to the gut and to the large intestine, small intestine. Um, so your immunity, there's a lot of evidence right now that there's your 80% of your serotonin lives in the gut. Your immune system is deeply connected to your gut and how well your gut functions. So this is a good time to kind of pay attention to how your gut um, is doing, making sure you have probiotics, digestive enzymes, that you're drinking, uh, warm fluids, and a lot of herbs that are supportive of digestion are helpful right now. So things like even fennel or uh, any kind of aromatic spicy herbs like ginger or peppermint, great supportive herbs right now. So anything that calms the gut and makes the gut kind of operate smoothly on time without interruption, uh, and is very helpful for the immune system as well as respiratory system. So in Chinese medicine, there is a connection between the digestion um, and how you respond, how your immune system on the mucous membranes level responds to pathogens and the symptoms that you're having say in your nose or throat. So okay, so The lung channel, I'm looking at this book just to kind of go along, originates in the stomach internally, and it descends to connect with the large intestine. So if we're taking a breath and we're breathing out, the muscles of our abdomen rise and fall, and that also pulls on the gut. So a lot of the body's biorhythms, and the major biorhythm is the breath. That's the lungs are connected to the diaphragm, so the diaphragm is right below the lungs, and it's attached uh, to the abdominal wall. So the breath and evening your breath and regulating your breath will have a regulating effect on the digestion. And as I just explained, that has a regulating effect on your immune system as well as your stress responses. So uh, large intestine, and then it returns upwards to pass the cardiac orifice of the stomach and traverses the diaphragm. Okay, so in plain English, and then the channel then goes through the stomach organ and then goes through the diaphragm. So as we said, the fascial planes are connective tissue, so it runs through very different, very specific planes, or if you think of rivers that run through very specific channels, this is how in our bodies those fascial planes are organized to run through the various different compartments that are normally compartmentalized. Um, from other tissues or fluids entering the compartments. But within those tissues, it's almost like a sac, or um, uh, there is there's a very specific movements that are happening. Uh, so, uh, and right now we're talking about the channel movement, so a pathway. Um, and then it enters the lung organ, and it ascends the throat region. So it goes up, and then it comes out into the throat, right? So then it passes obliquely towards lung one, where the channel emerges externally. So it passes and comes up into this point right here and comes out externally. So this is the first point on the channel, on the lung channel. And if I bring the hand up, there's a triangular fossa uh, in the pec muscle. And if I bring the hand internally towards the midline, you can really feel the little depression here. So this is a point where if you grab the muscle and you bring the hand up, you will feel that the pec muscle is really connected deeply to the deep tissues that are connected to the lung, and you'll feel tenderness. But then, kind of like if you massage outward and brush, there will be a sense of kind of movement or lubrication um, that is probably this ease is created by warming up the fascia around the muscles that are connected to the rib cage and to the top of the lung. So, when Chinese medicine talks about channels, it's a plexus's axis of um, anatomy and physiology, and so our bodies operate not just in this kind of like lung, large intestine, but as this complexes of muscles and ligaments and relationship between different parts of our bodies, and so um, and these relationships are fractal in nature. So there's different fractals of connections of this part of my body to this part of my body to this part of my body to that part of my body and my hip, etc. So uh, how then from there, um, the channel itself ascends to the rib space. Um, to Yunmen, lung 2, in the center of the hollow of delta pectoral triangle. So yeah, so lung 1 is right here, lung 2 is right below it. So just kind of, so this region right here, if there is any feeling of congestion in the rib cage and the lungs itself, this is the area where you can pay attention to. You can pay attention to what your posture is like. If your posture is a little in, trying to lay down passively on the floor and open the lung, maybe put the blanket under you is a good idea. You can also start doing acupressure. So just kind of pressing in the point, first very slightly, then you kind of can feel. So first you can just kind of rest the hand on the flesh, on the skin, and you can just stay there. If you're working with energy such as Reiki work, etc., you can kind of just pay. This is information about the lung channel from Chinese medicine perspective, so you can use different techniques that you already have in your toolbox. If you want to kind of go deeper and massage things and go into the muscle layer, you can start shaking. You can massage outward. You can massage in a very even way, or you can kind of speed things up. You can open the entire center by stretches, either on yourself or on somebody else. You can move the shoulder on somebody else or yourself, because as you lift the shoulder, you lift the sides of the lungs. And so your entire rib cage is starting to be mobilized for movement, for supporting movement that normally occurs when you breathe in and out. And so as you relax the areas around the rib cage, you creating more space internally for the lungs to be breathing and taking in oxygen to its capacity. Um, and then I want to skip, let's see, I want to skip to uh, just how the channel moves. So I'm going to skip over a few points. So the channel uh, starts here, kind of makes this little loop, that it comes to the internal side of the hand, the inside, but it's still on the lateral side of the inside. So lateral outwardly side of the internal side of the hand, of the arm. So the channel runs this way on this line. We're going to stop right here at the crease, right on the external side of this tendon that we have right here. Let's see. Uh, so it's a cubital fossa at the elbow. Uh, and this is lung 5, and lung 1, lung 5. Then we're going to go here. This is lung 7. So lung 7 is, I'm just trying to, it's a styloid process of the radius. So anatomically, the location is the styloid process of the radius. So if we bend the arm here, and the point is located in depression that's right off the bone here. And then uh, the lung channel kind of breaks here, goes on the inside of the hand. This is lung 9. And then a branch separates from the main channel at lung 7 at the styloid process and travels directly to the radial side of the tip of the index finger, where it links with the large intestine channel, large intestine 1. So at the index finger here, um, uh, it links with large intestine. But first, the first pathway connects to the thumb. So it goes on the inside. This is lung 10 right here. And then this is where the lung channel ends. Lung channel ends at the radial side of the thumbnail. So that's lung 11. So just to review, this happens on both sides. This is there's a complexes of channels, obviously. We're three-dimensional um, people, and so the anatomy of the channel goes out through the large intestine, lung, stomach, lung, emerges here, and then travels down to the cubital fossa, to the radial eminence, trying to use the right anatomical uh, terms, and then travels all the way up to the thumb. And then there is a little pathway that travels out to the large intestine channel. So that connection to the large intestine channel is important because lung and large intestine are sister channels. So they are traveling together. They have interchangeable um, sort of symptoms, and the large intestine symptoms of the channel are often connected to the upper respiratory symptoms. So, okay, so I hope that this has been uh, educational. We can continue tomorrow, where I can kind of go over the different um, point indications um, and how to work with those points in terms of self care, in terms of thinking about different points and what's going on with you physically. Um, okay, thank you.
You do?